Hello, my name is Pavel and welcome back to my channel. Today, if you haven't read the title, I'm going to be watching movies that I've never seen before, and these movies are from Studio Ghibli. I'm so sorry, I have no idea which pronunciation is correct, and I'm going to be very honest here, I'm uncultured and I just don't know, and the point of this video is that I'm going to kind of culture myself and watch movies from Studio Ghibli. I have no idea. I'm so sorry, I'm probably so cringy if you're watching this right now. So basically, I'm gonna watch 3 or 4 movies from the studio, but I'm gonna do it a little bit different compared to other videos that I've done. I'm just gonna watch movies that just sound interesting to me. I'm not gonna go by IMDb ratings or Rotten Tomato ratings. I'm just gonna look up synopsis that sound really interesting to me, and I'm just gonna watch the movie. Therefore, if you wanna see the movies I watch, you're gonna have to actually stick around and you know. So I have no idea what the first movie is going to be, so I'm going to go pick one and I'm going to watch it and I'm going to chat about it, because I feel like I've just been missing out on a world that everybody's involved with. Anime movies, just anime in general, is just something I've never really considered. And the last time I had an attitude like this was with foreign movies. I was like, oh, why would I watch a movie that's not in English? Boy, I was so wrong. And now I want that to be repeated, but with anime movies. So that's what I'm going to do. Let me go pick my first movie and I'm going to be back in 2 seconds. Be right back. Hello. I have just finished watching the first movie in this video thing, and I watched The Cat Returns. I know it's not the most popular movie from the studio, but the point is that I just wanted to find things that I would genuinely find super interesting. And a movie just about cats and a cat kingdom and everything else just sounded right up my street. This movie is basically about a girl named Haru, I think that's her name. She is out and about and she sees a cat running across the road that is about to be hit by a car, and she runs and rescues it. So after she rescues the cat stands up on its hind legs and is like, thank you very much, I'll thank you. So basically, there's a world where cats speak, and this cat is like, hey, I'll thank you for this later on. So during the night, whenever she's asleep or she can't sleep or whatever, she looks outside and there's loads of fucking cats carrying this king, and the king is like, from tomorrow on you will live your best life. Long story short, she gets convinced and thrown into a world that she doesn't really want to be in, where she is kind of forced into marrying a cat prince, and she meets another baron cat that has to save her from marrying this prince. Fucking incredible. The concept is just so bizarre, but also so right up my street that I absolutely loved it. But one problem, and I know you're going to be disappointed in me, but I have to confess, whenever I tried to put on the subbed version on Netflix, it just would not work. So, excuse me, I had to use the dubbed version with the original subtitles, but it was really weird. So, the subs seemed a lot more accurate because they just seemed normal, but the voiceover was obviously they didn't match, they were just completely different things, and it was just, there was things said that I just know were not meant to be there, the cat king just kept saying babe and all this sort of stuff, but that was not in the subtitles. So I'm wondering, did they just kind of sub it to kind of make it more, I don't know, just make it sound cooler or something like that? But there was no need, because this was such an interesting film, and I feel like it's a good stepping stone for me to dive into this world, because I know I've had I don't know, I've just had this weird attitude of I'm just not into animated movies, and that's so silly because I used to have the same opinion about foreign movies, and I fucking adore them now. So I kind of need to get out of my own ass, take my head out of it, and just dive into that world. And I think this is such a good step. I don't want to watch Spirited Away or anything like that yet, because I know I'm going to love them. They're huge movies, so I feel like this was a great one to start with, and the story was so unique, and I really wish I watched something like this when I was younger, because I can definitely imagine a movie like this heavily inspiring my creative process, or just the music was so beautiful, it was so beautifully animated, and this is from 2002. It looks so good, the story holds up, it's so short, and in those 70 something minutes, such a cool world is built up, and you fall in love with the characters, and there's a cat kingdom, there's cat princes and kings, and there's rivalries between cats, and each cat has a different attitude, and you like some and you don't like some, and this poor girl is just kind of exposed to it, and it's hey, you're gonna marry a cat, and also you're slowly transforming into a cat. Imagine trying to comprehend that if you were in that world. And I feel that's how I viewed it. I was what the fuck would I do if that happened to me? And some of the cats look so fucking cool. Like I can imagine getting like the barn cat tattooed and it looking really cool, and it's so aesthetically pleasing. And I don't know, it was just really, really enjoyable. I don't know what I'm going to watch next because I haven't picked yet, but I'll watch one of the movies I've mentioned. But that was so enjoyable and I really loved it. And I know I've mentioned it already, but I'm just so glad I started with a shorter one because, I don't know, I'm really starting to appreciate it. And I'm also glad that it didn't start with something that's like amazing, 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 because everything else would have been like, oh, it's not as good as blank. But now I'm just starting with something that just sounded interesting and I don't know where it places upon a hierarchy. So I think that's all I have to say. Let me have a think. I'm definitely like really glad I'm making this video. Like exposing myself to new stuff and trying new things and watching new things is great. So good. But I think that's everything I have to say. So I'm gonna go watch the next movie. Be right back.
Find me in the future.
Hello. I have just finished watching the second movie, and that was Howl's Moving Castle. And I feel like it's very difficult to just kind of like read a synopsis or explain in a sentence or two what this movie is about. But in essence, it's about a girl named Sophie who gets like a spell put on her by a witch that makes her really old. And then she's like, what the fuck, she just basically wants to become young again. And she does this, well, she attempts to do this by she finds a castle. But this isn't like an ordinary castle. Also, ignore that alarm because it just keeps going beep, beep, every like 20 seconds for some reason. And I do not know why. But basically, she finds this castle, but like, it's not like a proper castle. It has legs and it moves around and it looks like there's just so many houses thrown on top of each other, and inside of it there's just like a massive array of characters. And I think that's the best way I could describe this movie. One, I don't really want to give anything away, and two, I just really love how like it's very difficult to explain all the characters that you meet because it's so creative, and there probably has been like such a, I don't know, like I would love to see the creative process behind creating a movie like this. And it's so interesting for me because I've never really experienced anything like this before, so being thrown into it, not really knowing what to expect, I feel like it's such a good way to kind of like appreciate and also be kind of like wowed by everything. Between both movies, they've both been very beautiful. The music has just complemented everything that I've seen on the screen. And also in this movie, I watched the sub version, not the dubbed, because in the previous one I had a problem with it, whatever. And like, I wrote down some notes about this, but generally I was just kind of like enjoying my time watching it. I was just relaxing on the couch, legs kicked up, and just taking everything as it comes, and like being a little bit confused because I didn't really understand what was happening for a while, and all the characters were just kind of like, I don't know. It was definitely very interesting. But the notes that I wrote down on my phone are: 1, that it's very difficult to explain the plot, as I've mentioned. 2, I would love to know what the demographic for these movies are, because there's like so many themes in this that are like adult related. Initially, whenever you see Sophie, she's speaking to her sisters or her mum, and they're like, oh, do you really want to be stuck working in this hat shop for the rest of your life? Blah, 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 don't waste your youth. And it's like, it like contrasts itself with her becoming really old, which is very interesting, and that's a theme that is like very interesting. But then there's a massive shadow looming over the world that this movie is set in, and it's that there's a war going on, and it's referenced quite a lot, and it's mentioned quite a lot, and it's visually shown to you quite a lot. And I wonder, is this like the demographic this is aimed towards? Is it kids and stuff like that? Because that made me think of like things I watched when I was a kid, and there was definitely themes that I just didn't process when I was a kid, and I just kind of was like, yeah, that's just meant to be there. But whenever you watch something as an adult, you're like, oh, that clearly impacts all the characters and their view on the world. And that's just very interesting to me, and I think I might do some research. I've just realized I've had fluff on my finger the entire time. That is very interesting to me, but also I guess it doesn't matter, because if it can be enjoyed by kids and by adults and by everything in between, then that just shows that it's a great movie. Compared to The Cat Returns, the world is so much bigger because the movie is twice the length of the first one, and I really like that because you really get to explore all the characters, and then when like sad moments happen, which spoiler, they do, you really feel that in your heart. When a movie is a lot shorter, it's difficult to kind of care for characters a lot more, unless it's like centered around 1 or 2 characters. But this was incredible. I really love this movie, and I really like that in this video I'm not really like, I have no plans. I'm just gonna sit down, pick a movie and watch it, and I love that. Overall, I fucking loved it, and I'm gonna go watch one more. I don't know what it's gonna be, but I'll obviously let you know. So, be right back.
This
Hello, hello, hello. I have watched the final movie in this video thing. So basically, I was scrolling through Netflix and the last movie I decided to watch is Kiki's Delivery Service. Basically, this movie is a lot more straightforward than the previous one that I have watched. And we have a girl named Kiki who is a 13-year-old witch who moves away from home to kind of like pursue her craft and get better at it. And in essence, it's just a coming of age story about a witch who is just trying to figure life out, trying to make friends and trying to just, you know, become a better witch. It's very straightforward and I really liked that about this movie because the last movie was incredible and I really loved it, but I really had to pay attention because, as I admitted, I was definitely a little bit confused. But with this one, I found it a lot more difficult to be confused because it was so straightforward. You had a few characters and it kind of just revolved around Kiki and her cat Gigi, which is like, I like it. It's really cute. And basically, Gigi is a cat who is very sarcastic and just has many opinions and things. And then it's contrasted by Kiki, who's just a very sweet girl who's just trying to find work, and it basically ends up that she uses her powers as a witch when she's able to, like, you know, use her broom and fly everywhere and stuff like that. And she meets this woman and together they open a delivery company, and it's very straightforward and it's very enjoyable and it's very cute. Seeing her have a lot of problems with her witchcraft, I guess, with being able to fly, and then like she loses her abilities temporarily and then she struggles to make friends and stuff like that. It's definitely a very unique coming of age tale because, as I said, I've never really watched like many anime movies or anything like that, so it was nice. It was very enjoyable to watch. But one thing I did notice though is that there's a kid in this who was in the previous movie I watched, and I was like, are these like little Easter eggs? Do the movies from this studio have like little Easter eggs that I'm gonna notice as I'm gonna watch more? Because I know this is the last movie I'm watching for this video, but I'm really gonna try to watch a lot more of them. Because for this one, I'm not even joking, I read the synopsis and I saw cat, speaking cat, and I was like, oh, this sounds very straightforward and very enjoyable, and I watched it. But I know there's like Spirited Away and My Neighbor Totoro. There's just so many movies that I need to watch, and I will, and I'm really sorry that I can't watch them all, but I also am doing this for your sake because I do not want this video to be like 40 minutes long. And still, 3 movies in, and I'm still struggling to know how to pronounce. Is the studio Ghibli or Ghibli? I have no idea, and I'm uncultured, and I know, so please don't come for me. But please tell me in the comments. Tell me in the comments how I should actually pronounce it, and also tell me what other movies from the studio I should watch. But overall, I really enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed watching all of these all together. It's so fun, and I'm so glad I'm like venturing into a new world that I've never really considered doing. So yeah, I think that's everything I have to say. That was very fun, and thank you so much for watching if you made it this far. If you want to message me movies to watch, please message me on Instagram at paulxkolobov or leave a comment. You know what to do, and I always ask at the end of all of my videos, what movie should I watch next? Please let me know, and bye bye.